Hey guys, what's up? Deadbound3 here, back for another video. Happy Halloween, everybody. Halloween is finally here, one of my favorite holidays. So I just want to wish everybody, all my subscribers, everybody who watches, the best Halloween. And I hope everybody's going to have a great day and a great night. So, to celebrate Halloween, I'm going to be doing a video showing off my top 20 favorite horror movies of all time. I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time. And this has probably been one of the hardest videos I've ever been doing because, there's so many horror movies that I love, that I watch every year around Halloween, or that, that I've grown up watching, or, just so many different horror movies. And, when I was doing this list, I was, looking through all my movies and I was like, oh, I gotta include this one, it's one of my favorites, but oh, I love that one as well. And, it's just always hard to pick your top favorite ones. Originally I was going to do a top 10 video, but I've liked so many, there was so many of them that I wanted to choose of that I could not do that. So instead I'm going to do a top 20. So this is going to be my top 20. This is part 1 of it. As you guys can see, some of these movies are movies you guys might not be as, as well known as other horror movies. I wanted to mix it up a little bit and put some movies that I'm sure some of you guys may not have heard of, and along with, of course, the classics that everybody already knows. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. The first 10 movies I'm going to talk about in this video are really in no particular order. These are just movies that I feel are definitely some of my favorite ones that I really just couldn't, I couldn't put in any specific order. And then my next video in my top 10, they are in specific order. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first movie I'm going to talk about is one movie that I watch every year around Halloween, and it's the movie The Haunting with Lynn Nielsen. Catherine Zeta-Jones is in this one, as well as Owen Wilson and Lily Taylor. This is a really, really great movie. It's basically like a sort of a modern take on the story of the House on Haunted Hill. The only thing is, a bunch of people are, there's 3 main characters, and they have sleeping problems, and so what Liam Neeson's character does is that he's basically a psychologist, and he takes them to Hell House to help them with their sleeping problems. And it's just a really, really great movie. One of my favorite scenes is that one right there, where the bed posts come over and goes over to the main character, has her trapped. Really, really great one. I definitely recommend this one. It's a really, really fun one. As you guys can tell, I'm going to try my best not to spend a lot of time on each movie because I have a lot to show off. The next one, this is an independent horror film from one of my favorite independent directors, Jim Van Bebber, and this one is a really bloody, violent. I've done a review on this movie, but it is the Manson Family. Now, I really enjoyed this one. Out of all the Charles Manson type films that I've seen, this one is the best because instead of focusing just on Charles Manson, they focus on the people that did the killing, his family, and I actually really enjoyed that one. It's shot sort of a documentary style way, but it also has, scenes of, gore and blood. It's just everything that's good in a horror film. Really violent film, really graphic, so if you got a weak stomach, I would say stay clear of this one, but it's definitely one of my favorite independent horror films. Now the next one is a movie that I think is a more modern horror film. It came out when did this come out? I can't remember. 2003 is when it came out, and it's Darkness Falls. Now this one's actually this is probably one of my favorite movies that have come out over the past 13 years. I think this is one of my, this is a really good horror movie. This was also like the first PG-13 rated horror movies that actually scared me. The opening scene really creeped me out. So yeah, this is a really good one, Darkness Falls. I'm not going to go into it right now, but I highly recommend checking this one out. It's one of the better, more modern horror films. Now I'm going to go into another movie that I love watching every year, and it's 13 Ghosts. This is the new modern one, and yeah, this one's just a really fun movie. Basically, there's this guy, and he has his house, and he's trying to open the gateway of hell. In order to do that, he has to have 13 different ghosts. One thing I love is that each ghost has its own thing. Like, one of them is called the jackal, where one of them has a cage over his head. One of them is like an old woman and her like fat son and stuff like that. Another one is the princess, who you can see got really cut up. But yeah, this is a really great one. I love this movie. I used to watch it a lot when I was really little, and I still enjoy watching it now. 13 Ghosts, really good one. Alright, this is the last more modern film, and then the next are basically classics. But next one is the Midnight Hour. Now this one's really not a full horror movie. It's a zombie flick, but this is more of a fun, I don't want to say family film, because there's some stuff in it that's not really good for family, but this is just a fun sort of party movie. This is like a movie that would be good that if you were throwing a party and you just wanted to have like a fun movie to have playing in the background, I think this would be really a good movie to, you know, have. The Midnight Hour. One thing I really like is that this movie takes place in the, I think, in the 60s, and it has a lot of good 60s music in it. It also has the radio DJ Wolfman Jack, who, if you know about the 60s, you know about him. If you've seen the movie American Graffiti, he has a part in that, but he's actually on the radio in it. This is actually a really fun movie, and I think it's really underrated. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this. I know that there's a DVD of it out, but I think it's out of print, and it's kind of expensive. But yeah, like I said, this is just a fun movie. Midnight Hour, really good one. Now the next couple movies are classic ones. The first one I want to talk about is Children of the Corn. This is one of my favorite Stephen King stories, you know. I always like this one because I can actually see this happening. I can actually see a group of children, you know, being so wrapped up into the religion and going out and killing their adults for what they've done. And that's one thing that really stuck to me, was the fact that, you know, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not trying to say anything bad about religion, but, you know, it's corrupting. Like, religion can corrupt and can cause people to do horrible things. And this is a really good example of it. But Children of the Corn, one of my favorite Stephen King movies, Stephen King stories, and a great movie. Now the next one, this is a classic horror movie. And yeah, it's got one of the best, probably one of the greatest horror actors in my opinion, Vincent Price. The original House on Haunted Hill, the black and white classic one. Now I've always enjoyed this one. This movie, when I first saw it, it really gave me the creeps. There are so many different scenes that I like the old woman that's in it. Of course, when the wife, they find her hanging from the, you know, the roof or the ceiling, you know, something like that. And yeah, this has always been, I know it's really cheesy today, and you know, special effects are outdated, especially the scene with the skeleton. It just looks so fake. But back when this movie came out, of course, you know, it really freaked a lot of people out, and I think it still does. I definitely love House on Haunted Hill. One of my favorite horror classics. That and Night of the Living Dead are probably my two favorite, you know, true horror classics. Now the next one is considered really gory. It's considered the goriest fright film of all time, and I really believe it is. It's Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. What can you say about this one? It hasn't been said before. So much blood, gore, the lawnmower scene at the end. I mean, you can't go wrong. That's just true classic horror scene. So much blood's in this movie. It's so over the top and crazy. Definitely one of my favorite all-time gore fest films. Definitely a fun ride. So Dead Alive is definitely a great one. Now this next one, I probably would have put this movie in my top 10. This movie is definitely in my top 20 favorite movies, just period, of all time. But I don't really consider this movie, in some way I do consider it a horror film, and in some way I don't. I consider it more of an action film. I've talked so much about this movie before, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's Battle Royale. Everybody that's seen this movie knows it's a masterpiece is what it is. Just everything about this film I enjoy, from the gore to the acting to, you know, the sentimental scenes, the emotional scenes, just, you know, everything about this. And this is one of those movies that I think it sparks almost every emotion. You can be happy during it, you're scared, you know, you're kind of crying a little bit. I didn't, you know, I mean, I didn't cry during this movie, but you get what I mean. This is definitely one of those movies that really sparks emotion into you, and Battle Royale, definitely one of my favorite films of all time. And the last movie I'm going to talk about, and like I said, if I had a place in my top 10, this would definitely be my top 10 favorite horror movies. This is probably one of the most realistic horror films I think I've ever seen. It's so raw and it's so real, and you know, it's just dirty, I think is a good way of describing it. But it is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Everybody knows about this movie. Like I said, raw. It looks so real. It actually looks like these people are really being killed. And there's so many iconic scenes, of course. You know, the hook scene, the scene where Leatherface kills the brother with the in the wheelchair, the hitchhiker scene. You know, I thought you was in a hurry. Yeah, like I said, this is one of those. This is definitely one of the, probably one of the 10 best horror films of all time. And this is definitely one of my favorite ones. And like I said, if I had more room or another space for it, this would have been in my top 10, but it just barely missed it because there's actually a few movies I like more. But like I said, one of the most disturbing, graphic horror movies I think of all time. Really great. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That is it, guys. That is the first 10 out of my top 20 favorite horror movies of all time. Feel free to let me know what you guys think about any of these movies. You know, leave me some comments down below. Also, I'd love to know what your top 20 favorite horror movies are. Like I said, leave me a comment or video response. You know, you can send it to me through a private message if you want. You know, and just get back to me. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching part 1, and part 2 will probably be up tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone for subscribing. See you guys later.